Hey, Nora. You remember that guy with the mask? And I had you draw him and I entered you into his art contest?
Yeah?
He says that you have won an honorary first prize for your drawing.
Okay. What are you talking about?
You won!
I know you're lying.
I'm not lying. He just emailed me. He said he's going to give you an honorary first prize.
I want to see.
Nicely done, Nora. Thank you so much for sending me your amazing artwork and for contributing to the art contest. You rock.
Hi guys, I'm Kristin Tate with Rebel Buzz. The holiday season is upon us. It's my favorite time of year.
I'm not a big fan personally. Sure, I like the family aspects of the holiday, and I certainly don't mind the days off work so I can recharge my batteries a bit. But I don't much like the commercial aspects of Christmas. I also don't like the expectations or the way so many people try to outdo each other in the gift-giving department. Of course, I'm not a big crowd guy either. They tend to give me a migraine. And Christmas wouldn't be Christmas without busy malls, crowded Christmas parties, and family gatherings. However, I'm getting the sinking feeling that you're about to crap the bed, Kristin.
But for the last decade or so, many Americans have watched in horror as political correctness has eroded many of the traditions that we hold dear. Offensive Christmas trees have been torn down in town squares. Elementary schools have canceled their holiday concerts. And officials have directed us to wish our neighbors happy holidays instead of Merry Christmas.
Oh, the horror! Not happy holidays. How dare they? Okay. Alright, but pull yourself together, GC. It's hard to know exactly what you're talking about here, Kristin. I mean, you flash what I assume to be stories backing up your assertion that Christmas trees were torn down and school concerts were canceled, but you don't provide any corroborating links in your description box. Were these trees taken down because they were unlawful? How about the concerts? You know what they say, the devil's in the details.
Well, now that President Trump is in office, all of that may change. During his 2016 presidential campaign, Trump promised to get rid of the political correctness that is slowly sucking the joy out of the holidays that we love here in America.
I love how these coneheads think Trump, or any other president for that matter, could just force people to say Merry Christmas. I'm not a big fan of out-of-control political correctness either, but it's the populace that has to oppose it. Trump isn't going to do anything besides pander to his religious voters, and many of them seem to fall for it. We have here a channel that aspires to be a news outlet, and they're talking about Christmas trees and the horror of saying Happy Holidays instead of Merry Christmas. Kristin, do you really think that Walmart or any of the big box stores that have greeters sitting at the doors is doing anything other than trying to appeal to the widest possible demographic of shoppers as possible? They say Happy Holidays because it's a universal greeting, and they're out to make money. Why potentially alienate people who are about to spend their hard-earned money on goods they likely don't need or want, when they can use a universal Christmas/holiday greeting that will do for anyone?
Something I said so much during the last 2 years, but I'll say it again as we approach the end of the year. You know, we're getting near that beautiful Christmas season that people don't talk about anymore. They don't use the word Christmas because it's not politically correct. You go to department stores and they'll say Happy New Year and they'll say other things and it'll be red. They'll have it painted, but they don't say, well, guess what? We're saying Merry Christmas again.
This is such a transparent attempt to pander. I honestly don't understand how anyone can fall for this. I'm an anti-theist and I say Merry Christmas. But if I owned a department store, I'd be instructing them to say Happy Holidays because it's inclusive and I'm there to make money. And who doesn't talk about Christmas anymore? This guy is spewing obvious nonsense and you're swallowing it, hook, line, and sinker. Everyone talks about Christmas. For 2 months, we have to endure non-stop Christmas music on the radio, in shopping malls, and everywhere else we might go. As soon as Halloween is over, stores start rolling out their Christmas stock, and talk turns to whether or not you finished your Christmas shopping, or what your plans might be. Christmas bazaars happen everywhere, especially the churches that sit at every street corner. Nativity scenes are proudly displayed on those same church lawns. People walk around saying Merry Christmas to each other, and most people don't care. When people say Merry Christmas, they're trying to be nice. Anyway, Any way you look at it, December is just constant Christmas.
So far, it seems like he's sticking to his word. And Trump has also shown that he's not afraid to openly celebrate the religious aspects of our holidays. A couple weeks ago, during his Thanksgiving address, Trump mentioned God 9 times. Now that's a stark contrast to President Obama, who only mentioned God once during his 2016 Thanksgiving Day address.
I love how The Rebel and many of the people that watch it constantly complain about the SJWs, who complain about the male-to-female ratios or the race ratios that might be found in movies and shows. But they're the exact same. Instead of counting how many different races and sexes can be found in a show, they sit around counting how many times Christianity is mentioned by different presidents.
Now that Christmas is around the corner, it seems like Trump will only continue to defy the outrage culture. The Trump family Christmas card was recently released, and it proudly wishes Americans a Merry Christmas. It did not say Happy Holidays, which was, of course, the Obama's preferred greeting. If you'll remember, during his first year in office, President Obama and his wife Michelle also considered removing the nativity scene from the White House as to be more inclusive. The Trump family has taken a completely different approach. They recently showed off their White House Christmas decorations, and the family selected the theme of this year's decorations as time-honored traditions. It's meant to pay respect to hundreds of years of holiday traditions in this nation.
But you don't really care about the holiday traditions. Your main concern is whether or not Christianity is given preferential treatment. Sure, you'll acknowledge that other religions and traditions exist, as long as your religion is recognized as the most important one.
The decorations are stunning. And yes, there's even a nativity, which serves as a reminder of the reason for the season for so many Christians. This all comes as a welcome surprise to many Americans who have watched on over the last decade as US holidays like Halloween and Christmas have been completely stripped of any religious or traditional meaning as to not offend anyone. Now, of course, a level of sensitivity towards other races and religions is a good thing, but when does it become too much? The holiday season is supposed to be one of joy and hope. It's supposed to be a time of celebration. And yes, a time to appreciate other religions while you practice your own.
So celebrate your religion and your reason for celebrating Christmas, and let others do the same. I'm also confused by the Halloween reference. How has it been stripped of any traditional meaning? It's a time for dressing up. It's the same now as it was before. But I love how she talks about not offending anyone, while complaining about being offended by how many times each president mentions her religion by name, and how horrible it is that people say Happy Holidays rather than Merry Christmas.
I grew up in a rural New Hampshire town. It was a mostly Christian town, but there were a few Jewish students at my school, so we always sang a couple of Hanukkah songs during our holiday concerts. That was an enriching experience for me. In our country, which remains incredibly divided, we need more joy and celebration, not less.
Great. Then let people greet each other however they want, and stop complaining about your religion not getting as much preferential treatment as you'd like.
If political correctness continues to go unchecked, eventually we'll all be living in a colorless, cultureless society where nobody can do anything because someone is always offended. Bottom line, part of what makes America so great is the freedom we have here. The freedom to speech, the freedom to practice any religion, and the freedom to celebrate any holiday. For far too long, these beloved freedoms have been eroded in the name of political correctness. It's time to make our holidays great again, and maybe Trump is the one who can do it.
You have freedom of speech as long as you say the words they want you to say, and celebrate the holidays the way they want you to celebrate them. All you're offering is a different form of political correctness. You're no better than the people you oppose. That's all I have today. Thanks again to those who took part in the contest. Take care and cheers.
Here we go. Blame it all on my roots. I'm preaching in boots, an untucked shirt and blue jeans. A Bible in hand, on a stage do I stand, with the verses all over the screens. And I see the surprise, the conviction of life, when I stomp my foot on the floor.